What's up guys, Jason here. On our channel we like to share Asian recipes, and today we're gonna make a stir fry. I'm gonna show you how to make broccoli beef. Broccoli beef is really easy to make. You can pretty much find it at every single quick service Chinese place, and it's a great way to get your kids to eat more vegetables. To get started with beef and broccoli, you can use any kind of beef that you want. I'm using 8 ounces of flap steak. I'll also be using onion, ginger, garlic, and broccoli. I have 2 different types of broccoli. One is regular broccoli and the other is broccolini or baby broccoli. Either works great for beef and broccoli. Today I'll be using the broccolini, which has skinnier stalk and it's a little bit sweeter, a little bit milder in taste. With my broccolini, I'm going to first cut off the ends, and then with the stems, I'll cut them at an angle so that they're bite-sized. With the florets, if there's any large pieces, I'll cut them in half or in quarters. I'll be using half a red onion. You can use yellow onions or white onions. I just think the red onions add a pop of color. I'll cut these onions into 1/2-inch slivers. We'll need a teaspoon of minced ginger. I'll first take off the skin of the ginger with the back of a knife. Slice them into 1/8 inch rounds. Julienne them. Turn them 90 degrees and give them another slice through. I'm going to smash and chop up a few cloves of garlic so I can have a tablespoon of minced garlic. We'll need to cut our beef into bite-sized pieces. I already went ahead and cut my flap steak into 2 to 3 inch strips of meat. From here, I'm going to slice them at an angle against the grain. By cutting it at an angle, the meat will be thin but also very wide. Compared to if you were to cut it straight down, the beef would be very thin, but it will also be very skinny, which in my opinion, it doesn't look as appealing when you make the dish. You want your beef to be about 1/4 inch thick, and that way when you stir fry the beef, the meat will cook very quickly, and also because you're slicing it so thin, the beef will marinate really quickly as well. That way you don't have to marinate this overnight. You can marinate it for 5 to 10 minutes and you're ready to start cooking. I'm just gonna finish cutting all my beef into bite-sized pieces, and this is what it looks like, thin and wide at the same time. To marinate our beef, we'll use a teaspoon of minced ginger, a few dashes of white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, drizzle in a tablespoon of cooking oil, give it a good mix, and your marinade is done. We'll also need to assemble our sauce. We'll start off with 2 tablespoons of chicken stock, 1/2 tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine, 1/2 tablespoon of dark soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, a dash of salt. Give it a good mix and your sauce is done. We'll also need to make a cornstarch slurry to thicken up our sauce. We'll need a tablespoon of cornstarch and a few tablespoons of water. Lastly, we'll add about a tablespoon of sesame oil at the end when our dish is almost ready. Let's get cooking. First thing we'll do is blanch our broccolini. Get some water on the stove. Once it's piping hot, toss in your broccolini. Make sure everything is submerged and let that blanch for 30 seconds to a minute. Once it's ready, strain it through a colander and reserve for later. Get our wok back on the stove, and once it's hot, drizzle in some oil. Remember to long yao. We'll start off with our garlic. As soon as the garlic starts to brown, we'll push that off to the side, and then we'll place in our meat. Try to place the meat in a thin layer in the well of the wok. When it comes to stir frying, one key element you want to have when cooking is you always want to hear a sizzle. Heat control is very important when cooking in a wok, and if you don't hear the sizzle, it means that your wok is not hot enough, or you added too much ingredients to your wok where it cooled down the wok too much. Let the meat sear for about a minute to give it an opportunity to brown, and then from there you're going to flip it over onto the other side. You'll notice from here that now a lot of moisture will start to come out, and then from that point you just want to stir fry the beef until it's about 90% cooked. At this point, you want to remove the beef from the wok and reserve for later. This way the meat stays juicy and it doesn't dry out or get tough. We'll get some more oil into our wok, and now we're going to stir fry the onions. Once all the onions are separated and you can start to see that there's some browning on them, I'm going to add my broccoli back to the wok. Give it a quick toss so all the onions and broccoli are well incorporated. Then we'll toss our beef back into the wok. Give it another stir. Now we'll add in our sauce, and we're going to drizzle around the edges of the wok. Then spoon in some of your cornstarch slurry to thicken up the sauce. And lastly, we'll add in our sesame oil. One final mix, take it off the heat, and you're ready to serve. This is how we make broccoli beef. The broccoli is fully cooked, but it's not overcooked. It's very vibrant and the broccoli is crunchy. The beef is very tender and flavorful. The ginger and the Shaoxing wine actually helps to tenderize the beef. You can also use baking powder or an egg white to do the same thing. The sauce also isn't very goopy. I personally prefer my sauce to be not too thick because I'm gonna eat it with rice. As it cools, it also thickens a little bit. You can always add more or less cornstarch as you're cooking it to make it the consistency that you like. If you like this video, do me a favor and smash the like button below. It'd be greatly appreciated. And thank you so much if you already did that. If you want to see more stir-fry videos, consider subscribing. We'll be making more Asian-inspired recipes because we have to eat, and also we enjoy making these videos and hope that they provide value. Now we're going to finish making our dinner and pig out. Mama!
Beef is tender. Almost cooked perfectly.
Angie needs to eat too, so we'll see you in the next video.